Okay, it's your boy Doug. Y'all see, y'all just woke up. I'm in Jonesboro, Georgia. Shout out to Jonesboro. I'm here taking care of the refrigerator. Now I gotta let this guy know. We're off to Ackworth. Got a long ride. Put the glasses back on. Oh,
you have a message.
Yeah. God. Ackworth to see John. On my way. Yes. Be there about 11:47. Okay, let's text John.
You have a message.
Yeah. ETA. One hour. Turn the L. Somebody just want to see me about a Speed Queen beeping noise tomorrow morning. All right, let's head out to Georgia. It's 58-mile ride from Jonesboro, so we're probably going to go right through downtown. Let me turn this on so I can cool off a little bit. Well, I ain't got no windows down. Turn my air on. I think the Diddy guy relaxes today. They rest. I think he gonna snitch, man.
And they're also showing that it's not just with Sly. I mean, we're in Leo. I think I also, one thing I've noticed too in this is the way they're showing these messages. It's dealing with literally all these different men: Sly, Leo, Paul, Don, and they're showing, like, in each one at points and during each one that she's cool with it. Jane. We're in the Jane right now. Which many people feel Jane is victim number 2. Victim 2, Jane. All right, so we don't have an update yet. We're still waiting to see what is up. Things are popping up all over my screen.
Left on Tower Boulevard. I think we're going straight up 75.
We're here. We're waiting. What you got, Garagos? Please show us what you got. we we don't see the jurors, so we don't know what the jurors are actually thinking here. See, Washington or the New York Post has the lives right now, the updates, but they're very basic, like not really details. 14 minutes ago, prosecutors are set to rest their case. Diddy defense case to follow. 21 minutes ago, jury sees another freak-off video. 28 minutes ago, last witness to wrap up testimony. We're not getting into details here. We want details. All right. This is the first mention of Anton, right? October 8th, 2022. Yes, he shows up. All right, so in their charts and exhibits and graphs and everything like that, the agent has confirmed very first mention of Anton. You know Anton. Mentioned on October 8th, 2022. And these photos, E285. Do you see the bracelet she is wearing? He says, I do. Public exhibit screen not on. Entirely unclear why not. All right. So, some sort of bracelet. They trying to imply that Anton gave her a bracelet or what? What's going on here? Bracelet. Bracelet. So the very first time mentioned in this guy's summary charts, very first time Anton is mentioned is October 8th, 2022. October 8th. So it's about a year and a half into this relationship. Well, what's so relevant about this bracelet? Is it a love bracelet, a gift bracelet, friendship bracelet? What are they trying to do with this bracelet?
You have a message.
Yeah.
Just a sec.
Got a bracelet. No update on CNN. None on NBC. Probably have to write up their summary reports. All right, so we're still waiting. Bracelet. Where are they going with the bracelet? Why does she have a bracelet? Sidetrack, distraction. Jane testifies she received a bracelet from Diddy, and she unfortunately took a selfie with it. So even if she previously testified, I could have sworn I heard the bracelet in the past, but as far as like the gifts that she received. Magnolia says she unfortunately took a selfie with it. And now the defense is pouncing on that picture. Maybe saying that she's holding something that she
You have a message.
Yeah.
Taking her own photos. Her own photos, like, hey, look what I got. A bracelet. See what I mean? Bracelet. Bracelet. Yeah, you got a bracelet. The defense is saying, you got a bracelet. You're happy. You're cool. Holmes took Jane to the Turks and Caicos in February of 2021, and he gifted her jewelry, a bracelet that read love and funds during the trip. I really appreciated that gesture. I knew I was away for a while, and he wanted her to have that money. So apparently this bracelet possibly was the bracelet from February of 2021. And the bracelet says love. You know, Diddy likes to use the word love. Kind of like his trademark. Love. One minute ago, CNN reports Jory sees messages Combs and Jane sent to Paul in October 2022. Goes on to say the jury saw the jury saw messages Sean Combs and Jane sent to Paul in early October of 2022. Jane previously testified that Paul, which is his first name, was one of the men who frequently joined them for hotel nights. Jane texted Paul asking if he was ready for some fun tonight. She then told him he could come after the butlers were finished helping, and he could wait in the lobby if he got there early. Chloe also texted Paul around the same time saying, hold up, the staff is outside, they're leaving now, hang tight. So it's like Jane. Jane talking to Paul. Diddy talking to Paul. They're all working together to have this freak off. That's what the defense wants the juries to see. This thing that happened in October of 2022. Some people might think that these summary witnesses could backfire on the prosecution in some way, shape, or form, even though they're corroborating a lot. It's also honing in on consensual stuff within these documents and exhibits. Some might say the gift and the curse. Anne-Marie Glennie. Oh, I don't know what I'm saying. Oh. Diddy went to town riding on a homie. He beat the girls and took their souls, and now he's also lonely.
That's pretty good.
Wow. Thank you for the song. I had to understand what song we were talking about.
Riding on his homie. That was good.
Pretty funny, though. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony. Na, na, na. That's the Yankee Doodle song. I was trying to get the tune to it, Anne Marie. Lot of yo, another thing that we haven't considered, when this is all said and done, we get a conviction. Some of these rappers are going to go in and write like ditties in their lyrics, like Diddy stuff in reference to the trial. It's going to be in some rappers' lyrics, probably 50 Cent. Some of these rappers here are going to be talking about Diddy for sure. But if he gets off, this song is a Grammy winner if I ever heard one. Magnolia says. Where are the updates? Like, where are we at the updates? 10:45. It looks like this person's, if schedule is right, this agent will be on the stand for another half hour. And then a prosecution rests. Will this help or hurt the case? Whatever side you believe on. No updates by NBC. Last updated with 18 minutes ago. CNN. No update. We're waiting. We're just waiting. We're waiting. Yankee Doodle Diddy. Yankee Doodle Diddy. Sing it again. All right. Well, see, people are saying "City," singing it.
Sing it again.
I don't like. The song's good. I love the song. I don't like to beat the girls. But
come on, man.
Y'all get it, right? Diddy went to town riding on a homie. Beat the girls and took their souls, and now he's all so lonely.
Oh, that's a hit.
Diddy is so lonely. Diddy is so lonely. Da, na, 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 na. It's funny, Anne Marie. Thank you. It's funny in a sense, you know, like me. I'm like, well, I don't want to sit there and say, you know, girls getting beat. Like, you know, we're this is not a joking matter, but we're having fun with this in a sense. You know, this is all about Diddy. We're making fun of Diddy. We're making fun of Diddy. Diddy.
Bop, bop.
We're like humiliating Diddy.
Yeah.
In a sense. But he earned it. He earned it. He earned it. He earned it. I mean, because he's not an innocent angel here, regardless of what happens with this jury. And there are a lot of victims out there. Yeah, we should do the Tootsie Roll song. That would be more by Tootsie Roll. To the left, to the right, to slide, Diddy, slide. Slide, Diddy, slide.
Slide,
It's called a diss track, JLR.
Slide, Diddy, slide. Come on, slide, Diddy, slide.
Now slide, baby, slide. Slide. To the left, to the right. Now Tootsie
Baby,
Roll.
all to the left, to the
Tootsie
left.
Roll.
Baby, all to
Tootsie
the right.
Roll.
Baby, all to the left. Now slide, baby. Come on, now slide, baby.
And this is in reference to the lawsuit that was filed against Diddy with the Tootsie Roll for having an itty bitty ditty.
We got an itty bitty ditty.
Itty bitty ditty. Can't you see? Federal prison is where you'll be. Itty bitty ditty. Can't you see? I mean, he's been sitting in federal detention center.
And too little to get in the.
It's crazy. A lot of people that sit in those and we're waiting to see what update, by the way. So that's why we're just kind of waiting to see the latest. Let me tell you something. A lot of people that sit in those metropolitan detention centers, federal detention centers, the city has those detention centers, even federal inmates that sit in the county jails. Man, they want to get that. They want to get a resolution quick. They know they're going to prison. They actually don't want to sit there as long as they have to. They want to get out of there. They want to go to federal prison so they can just at least get out of the situation they're at. Diddy's situation's much different though, because he's going to a maximum security prison if he's convicted. So he's not going to go to a sweet general population. So his confinement is his confinement. He might even have more confinement when he goes to wherever he goes. ADX Florence, USP Terra, Hutt, Indiana, Beaumont, Texas, USP Hazleton, USP Lewisburg. A lot of USP Coleman. He might go to Coleman. He might like Coleman. I was in Coleman. Might like Coleman. All right, so here we go. It says, we're going to read here because this is the newest thing that comes out. Combs says, Garagos, Jane writes, can you come to the Turks? What does he say? He says, yes, love, I have a passport, but not vaccination. She said, can you get in ATL, Cabral space? A few days later, March 21st, 2023, she asks about Miami. Is that the town of Miami or is that young Miami? The whole point of it is that, though, is they're showing that Jane has initiated travel herself and actually tried to say, hey, can you come to the Turks? Hey, can you come to ATL? That's Cabral. Like, showing that Jane is like a willing participant here. Mary says, just jump back in the chat just to let you know that I think your Diddy songs are hilarious. But that's what they're doing. They're getting the agent to go over certain correspondence where Jane is initiating these things and also initiating the travel. Because when it comes to sex trafficking and prostitution over interstate lines, if she's a victim, then why is a victim here telling Diddy where she wants to go? Turks, Atlanta. 1 minute ago, CNN. Combs and Jane coordinated to keep staff from seeing entertainer during hotel night. Defense attorney Garagos reviewed records and text messages related to a hotel night in January of 2023, when it appeared that Sean Diddy Combs and Jane were taking steps to prevent staff from seeing a man involved in the hotel night. When they were planning a hotel night, Combs texted Jane, can I walk in on you and Paul? And I would like that. Yes, she says. And asked him what time she should tell the entertainer. Maybe 9:30, so he doesn't run into anyone. Jane texted Paul later, okay, let me make sure the coast is clear. The planning and preparation But, folks, it's no secret about Jane. She's going to try her best to win his heart. She's shared that. She wants Diddy for herself. She feels like there's a future with Diddy. So she's going to do things that Diddy wants. They have no defense. This is about Jane. The prosecution already proved kidnapping, drug trafficking, forced labor, abuse, sex trafficking, threats, blackmail. A lot. Thank you for the comment. They committed a crime together. Defense doesn't have any witnesses. So they're using the prosecution's witnesses for their own case. I mean, you might be able to work one juror with this nonsense, but I don't think you're going to work all 12. They're showing another correspondent. Jane writes, "Tonight was fun." What does he say? He says, "Had a great time with you, baby." Gary goes, "Now, April 2023, Jane, Combs, and Paul." He says, "Hey, Jane." Jane's true name, "I am available." And she asks about the 19th. Yes. So, they're just showing again more times throughout this thing going on that Jane is like confirming she's available. Jane writes, "Tonight was fun," showing that she liked it, she wanted it, even confirming other days that she'd be available for more. So that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. There was times where Jane is talking about traveling to different places. There is times that Jane is saying she wants to do this, that, and the other. There was times where after these events took place, Jane's saying how happy she was and she enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next one. Things like that. That's what the defense is going in on. Obviously not all the times, because we've heard text messages and everything like saying that Jane wasn't with it. Jane was being threatened at one point. Remember, Diddy threatened to release sex tapes to the baby's daddy. Jane getting assaulted. Jane getting all these fake promises. Jane getting bamboozled to get up on a plane only to turn it into like getting on a plane to go hang out with Diddy and do some travel with Diddy, only for it to turn into a freak off. Times where Jane would just be trapped in a hotel room for days doing these freak offs and complaining. All that stuff has been shown. The defense is sharing some stuff where, remember too, Jane is benefiting from this numerous ways herself financially. All right, NBC's last update was 30 minutes ago. Let's see, Washington Post. Washington Post has this big story up on Combs's children. Combs' team said it wouldn't call any witness to the stand when it begins its brief presentation this week with the exhibits, but his family's presence and demeanor in the courtroom could provide its own narrative. They're just talking about his 6 children coming to court, but they used to come as a unified front, but they don't come as a unified front anymore. Mom usually comes in separate, and it's usually only just 1 or 2 boys. But before, it was the whole entire Diddy family. You know, with Diddy's children, less and less coming, or not as a group, reminds me of like a football game or a sports game when it's the 4th quarter and everyone's leaving the stadium when the home team is getting blown out and people are just leaving. It's what it kind of reminds me of. You know, at first in this trial, the family had arrived there as a unified front, all together, all coming. And then just after the first week of Cassie, it just dwindled away. Some never even came back. Some never came back. But some
You have a message.
Yeah.
So why go to something you know you're going to lose? Because if you're that confident, you'd be there every day in a unified front. But then at the same time, you know, he got daughters. His daughters got to listen to this. His daughters probably don't want to listen to this. And as a father, you shouldn't subject your daughters to listen to this. Do wop diddy diddy dum diddy do. Gene Ann says, do wop diddy diddy dum diddy do. I like that one. Do wop diddy diddy dum diddy do. If I'm saying that right. Isn't that a song? Do wop diddy diddy dum diddy do.
Diddy dum diddy do.
Rosemarie, thank you. Hope Hawk, thank you. Do wop diddy diddy dum diddy do.
Diddy diddy. Diddy diddy dad.
Dude, we could literally we'll do the Diddy songs while the jury deliberates. Like really go really good.
Yeah.
I'll try my best. I'll think of some
Diddy diddy dum diddy do.
during deliberation, because we're gonna have to use some time here during deliberation. Because we're not gonna log off during deliberation. We're gonna be here. All right, so here we go. More. Jane says, I'll reach out. How about P? Italian is available. What does Combs respond? Combs says, okay, you find location. You in the mood?
Yeah.
So they're showing again another text where Jane herself is saying, I'll reach out to an entertainer. How about P? Question mark. Italian, is he available? Combs responds, okay, yeah. You find the location. You in the mood? Jane says, didn't know you were unsatisfied. I stopped and got a couple more outfits. So more of this Jane. Initiating contact and initiating some of these freak offs and initiating herself and suggesting certain entertainers. And also location. Also goes on to say that I got additional outfits. I just feel like it's like she's going to say all the right things. Maybe she's saying the right things because she feels like she's trapped too, and he'll unleash on her.
Damn.
If she doesn't do what he wants. mean, I guess it could be damaging. If you think about it, I mean, I guess that's damaging. But we already got really the explanation. All right, see if we got an NBC report here. No. It's almost like the other media outlets have dipped out. Bounced. They were like, yo, I'm gone.
This is over.
We'll see. Come on in, folks. JLR Investigates. Still here. Agent is wrapping up. We're over the past 11 o'clock hour. I can't see him going on much longer, but we shall see. I think there's a lot of fraud in this case, too. I also think there's a lot of tax invasion here, too. Non-reporting, lack of reporting, manipulation of reporting. Because we're talking about bundles and bundles of cash. When these people accept cash payments over 10 grand and stuff like that, all that is, triggers reporting requirements. Fraud under the corporation of Bad Boy Enterprises. Money laundering. Maybe it's a money laundering operation. Money laundering operation. All right, we're waiting for the next nuke to be dropped. Waiting for the next nuke to be dropped. All right, so this is the last thing that was discussed. Here you could argue and say that Diddy was saying to her, get in the mood. You know your role here. I don't know. Some of these workers, when it comes to a corporation or a company, whatever their boss says goes. Yes, sir. Okay. And people tend to say what they think the boss would like to hear to win favor and brownie points from the boss. From the boss, right? Someone with power, you're going to say exactly what you think they're going to like to hear. Know your role in an operation. If you were an employee and you were questioning what your boss had said, tells you to do, and you're going to get the pink slip or face problems. But you're going to say things that they want to hear. Here we go. Like this. Case in point. Combs Garagos. Jane writes. This came out 10 seconds ago. Jane writes, I know what you like, Daddy. I know what you like, Daddy. At the London before you left for New York City, you did a film. You forgot it. You promised you wouldn't forget. Then smirky face, devil face, I'm coming, Daddy. That video you sent me was hot. Sweet emoji. A sweat emoji. I don't know what a sweat emoji is. Wet. I think it's a wet. It's a wet emoji. I think he misprinted. I think that's a wet, one of those wet things. I know what you at the London before you left for New York City. You did a film. You forgot it. You promised you wouldn't forget.
Fuck out
Then
the way.
smirky face. Then devil face. I'm coming, daddy. That video you sent me was hot. Wet emoji. Sweat is the correct word. It appears. Sweat emoji. There is a sweat emoji. Sweat emoji. Not wet. For people that are just jumping in the chat, what is happening here is agent is on the stand and Tenny Garagos is getting the agent to confirm different correspondence that Jane had with Diddy throughout this contract, relationship, whatever you want to call it, 2021 all the way up to his arrest, during the course of numerous correspondence from 2021 on. Jane, with these freak offs, flattering Diddy, initiating some of these freak offs, even, talking about outfits, talking about locations she wants to do these, and also just suggesting certain entertainers for these freak offs. Defense wants to paint a picture that everything here is consensual and Jane is an adult and a willing participant of these hotel nights. Agent Jane was working with the defense all along. It's an interesting comment. See, we're not in the courtroom to understand what the jury, how they're processing all this information. We're not in there, so it's hard to tell what the jury is. I can't wait for these reports to come out, but it's hard to tell what these jurors are thinking here with this. Like if the jurors are, starting to take Diddy's side when it comes to Jane, or just saying that she's a hot mess. They're all a hot mess. But you just have the totality of so much more. Even if you can crack into this, you can't just say all of them. Unless the defense wants all of them to be discredited, all of them, including the workers. Rico, Curtis Birch says. Rico at the end. We like using the word Rico. Rico. No one could ever make me do something I do not want to do, Peggy says.
What's up, John?
Hey man, how are you?
All right. I see you got busy, man. Forgot about me.
Now I'll try have a question.
Go ahead.
So maybe I think there's something that I don't understand. I had a call.
Yeah.
I went to the customer home and I signed that the customer, they're going to bill the customer for the diagnosis fee when I show up on the call, complete the call. But I also give the cost of parts and labor to the customer. And the customer says the $79.99 supposed to come out of that total.
Is this not? This is not a property management job, is it?
No,
Okay.
no, it's a COD. It's a customer direct call.
Okay, and they haven't paid the diagnostic.
Yeah. And now when I pay the customer saying, they told them that the $79.99 is gonna come out of the repair.
Okay,
I say,
add it to your labor, so it breaks zero. Add $95 to your labor, so it breaks out zero. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, I understand what you're saying, but they didn't tell me that. They didn't explain
Right.
that. Yeah.
I had to learn that one too. So whatever your labor was going to be, add $95 to it. So when they deduct it, you ain't lost nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I had to do.
You-
Anytime I do one like that, I add the diagnostic to my total. So when they think I'm taking it out, I'm actually zeroing out.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. So that's how it works. It's supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to take the $79 out of my repair because I thought the $79 is just for them for me
Right.
to pay to come
Right.
out. Doesn't have anything to do with the repair because I see how they charge the customer the cost of parts and labor.
Right.
They
So-
never explained that during the training that the $79 I have to deduct that from my labor.
Right. So when you walk in the door, you're already at $79 up. You don't start at zero.
Okay.
You start from $79 plus your labor plus your parts, and then you say, "Oh well, we're going to deduct the $79." That zero it out.
Okay, now I understand.
That's
Now I
what I do.
understand.
Yeah, they're slippery, man. But hey, it's a job. I mean, what else could you be doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to
So-
learn that one too.
Okay. So instead of giving the customer a 150 labor, I have to charge the customer 240 something. But
Right,
how many
but-
people is gonna go with that type of labor?
Right, but you keep that
That's
to
it,
you keep that to yourself.
I understand. Yes, I understand. I'm just calculating in my mind right now because I'm not gonna have a lot of customers that's gonna want to.
Right.
They
I
pay
got you.
$79 out of the labor rate.
Right.
I mean, how much do we already
Man,
charge for
you
labor?
should have seen me my first day. I was cussing them out. I was like, I ain't gonna be doing my work for less. They said, all you gotta do is add the 79 to your labor. I said, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, they are very deceptive to the customer.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So,
They absolutely are.
as long
Okay.
as I'm not losing, I'm adding 79, then I start. I start at $79. Or if it's $95, I start at $95, so I don't lose.
Yeah. If it's my own repair, I mean, I have $95 service fee. If the customer decide not to repair, they still pay me the 79.
Right.
But if I go out on the car and the customer decide not to pay as $79.99, I don't get nothing. The two calls that I had today, I don't see any technicians getting this. I don't know what they did.
Now, I know they
So-
did increase their rate, so the ones that's already paid in credit with their credit card, them the good ones. The ones that you gotta come at their house with cash, that's an option there. That's a sticky one there. They still gotta
Yeah.
pay the diagnostic if you show up, but they paying cash, so it's a sticky one there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what I need to know. If it is $79, it's I have to add in my labor, or if it's $79, it's a separate cost from parts and labor. From what you explained to me,
Right.
it was my understanding that when I show them the customer home, they have to pay $79. It's separate from the cost of parts and labor. That was my understanding.
Right. It's kind of tricky, so that's why I said start at $79 when you're doing your estimates, not zero.
Right.
That way, you say, okay, we're gonna deduct the 79. You zeroed out the 79, and now you back to what you was gonna charge them anyway.
Yeah. Now you cannot go back to what you can charge them anywhere, because if you're normally charging them 170, 180, or 200 labor, it's hard to charge 279.
I
That's a
understand.
lot. That's a big labor.
I understand.
So, yeah.
You can go labor or you can go part. Put it on the part.
Right. Yeah. I guess I just have to find a way to make it work because.
That's what I do.
how
Yeah.
that-
When I walk in the door, I start my math at 79 or start it at 95. Cause that's the deductible right there. So you're not getting out of my pocket. Right.
Right.
And they can either take it or leave it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
All right.
You make it work out.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. All right, man. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
So now we're into this conversation here, probably showing again that they're trying to show that Combs' attorney goes on to say, Miss KK writes, for hotel they want fruits and outfits for him, size large, fruits and juices. She writes, are you hydrated? I'll be at one hotel, residential side. Hey, hun. Had a great time. Do you see that? Yes. As if KK's like arranging these things for this group. Fruits, outfits, shorts for him. Size large, fruits and juices. What does fruits, juices, and fruits and outfits and shorts have to do with all this? And also, are you hydrated? Baby oil juices and fruits. I mean, the bottom line here is it's a RICO. It's all funded. It's funded through the enterprises. And it's revolving around females, sex workers, money, drugs, hotels, locations, baby oils, Astroglides. Did I miss something? And the way he groomed and tricked some of his females to do this. And the way he treated these females behind the scenes with his staff. And tricked them and coerced them and manipulated them and gaslit them. I mean, they're sharing text themselves, but do we know the full context of everything? KK's like the boss lady. Jane arranged May 2023 hotel night with entertainer. Goes on to say, defense attorney Geragos reviewed some of Jane's messages before an alleged hotel night in May of 2023. Jane texted Sean Combs about an available entertainer and said she was trying to arrange some things for a trip. He didn't respond to a few of her messages, and she then said, baby, all is set. Jane also texted one of the entertainers asking when he would be able to fly to Miami. Days later, she texted the entertainer that she was setting up the hotel. Later that day, Jane told him, give me a sec, clearing out the assistant. They had to stop by to drop off stuff and asked him to wait in the lobby. Hours later, she texted the entertainer to thank him for coming out and told him that she could send him payment through Zelle. Zelle payment. So we're just going by year after year after year that they're taking select things or sharing incidents where Jane herself would do all this and even arrange for payments with these escorts, entertainers, prostitutes, whatever you want to call them, for hotel nights, king nights. Again, coercive control sticks out to me. Like these females are under a spell. I mean, they've already showed mountains of evidence how Gene really felt about the situation, confronting Diddy to a T about this. How in the world can you say it's consensual from that June 2024 assault in Gene's home after Diddy assaults her, beats her literally, and then makes her have oral sex on Anton in her house? How can you say that's even consensual?
Yeah, a man come in your house. Don't
At
even
all.
know. Again,
Meanwhile, these hotel freak offs were coincidentally happening or magically starting to stop at hotels and started happening in residential places after Cassie's lawsuit. So I just, even though this is all put out here and the jury's hearing this, it still takes you back to these assaults, these beatings, and the threats. I don't think this is going to work for the defense. And I'm sitting here like evaluating this as like, if I'm the juror, like if you're sitting, pretend you're the juror, and you're listening to everything. What are you thinking? You've been here for 29 days. We've been here for 29 days listening to it. We don't know the jurors. We don't know where the jurors come from. We don't know their walk of life. We don't know their thinking, the full picture of each juror. You know, and that's what makes the situation like you never know. You just never know with a jury. Here, Jane writes to Combs, "I love you. Can't wait to see you," with heart emojis. But now she writes, "Let's be positive. Remember how we turned it around at One Star, right? Right. All right, so yeah, now they're talking about positive, turning things around. He says, "You got chef?" Jane says, "No." I don't know what the chef stuff means. I think we're still in 2023, by the way. We haven't really touched into 2024. Defense is still going in, still going in. Still going in. Wow, NBC News last update was 1 hour ago. Yikes. Rhino, short shorts, juices, fruits, baby oil. This is in reference to rhino pills or rhino meat. This is for a hotel. Fruits, outfits, shorts for him, size large, fruits and juices. Combs is an absolute abuser to women. Don't think you're going to dispute that. Where we at? Where we at? Come on in. Come on in. Waiting for updates here. All right, last update on CNN was 9 minutes ago. So we're just waiting. Agent is still on the stand. We don't know when the agent is done, but we are longer than anticipated for sure. Could go on to lunch. Could go on to lunch. Maybe.
You have a message.
We'll do that on the break. All right. So, agent says, Jane says, you know, I was trying for my chef eye poo. What is chef eye poo? Agent says, Jane says, and look, KK exhibit, government exhibit. Now this is circulating around, government exhibit of KK, who prosecutors call an agent and co-conspirator to Sean P. Diddy Combs. KK. So, everybody wants to know what's going to happen with KK. Combs is Garagos. Jane writes, are you coming to LA? How much would it be to compensate for missing chef gig? Missing chef gig. He responds, sorry love, I could have did it with enough heads up. What is my chef I poo? What is a chefy poo? Chefy poo? Chefy poo? My chefy poo? Chefy poo. My chefy. That's what's being said right here. How much would it be to compensate for missing chef gig? Some people are like, well, hello, you're supposed to say it's an hour and 15 minutes left. Running out, you know, you're running past this, getting close to this noontime hour. Why are you still on? Mr. Combs writes, hurry up. She is at hotel and she is horny as hell. Need help, LOL. Paul responds, LOL, right? Right. So, they asked this agent in this writing here, Mr. Combs writes, hurry up. She is at hotel. She is horny as hell. Need help, LOL. Paul responds, LOL. And Mr. Combs sent Paul an image. Does it look like Shaq? Yes. Judge now has asked for a sidebar. Exactly where I was like, yo, what happened to the hour and a half? And I think they're now just getting sidetracked. But Shaquille O'Neal's name just got brought up. Shaq. Mr. Combs sent Paul an image. Does it look like Shaq? Yes. Shaquille O'Neal of the Freak-Offs would be Paul. I think the judge is like, yo, where are we going with this? Like, come on, now we're getting a little sidetracked here. Now you're just going through like every single message and you're just having this guy repeat. The judge has asked for a sidebar, so I think the judge is reining this in before it turns into a complete circus. Sidebar. We're at a sidebar. Literally, Garagos just mentioned Shaq. And now the judge has called a sidebar. So we got a sidebar going on. I don't know what this sidebar is going to consist of. I'm assuming the judge is going to be like, you're getting sidetracked here. Come on now. How much longer do you have here? You said it was going to be an hour and 15 minutes. Now we're talking into almost 2 hours. Yeah, people are saying, thank God the judge finally woke up. Well, that's where I started to get a little antsy here. Like, where are you going? Plus, we're still in 2023. They haven't touched on anything in 2024, so I'm thinking, are they going year by year by year?
Text by text by text.
Because we're still in like the spring, summer of 2023.
Wrap it up.
According to these dates. Last date I saw here was May 19th and 2023. So we're at a sidebar.
Yeah. For what? Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
We're at a sidebar.
Wrap it up.
Nah, we'll see here. We'll see here. But I don't think the judge is not going to try to embarrass the defense on in front of the jury. But I think the judge is now telling the defense, like, yo, what the heck are y'all doing, dude? I'm just a little bit shocked that the defense or the prosecution didn't object or ask for a sidebar. Keep hiccuping. Wow. Come on in, folks. Come on in. We got sidebar. CNN says, puts out a report. The prosecution has called 34 witnesses. Here are the list of people. And they just name everybody. And we've done that numerous times. A lot of people. 5 of these witnesses testified under immunity. Kaplan, Garcia, Albana, Perez, and Paul. Brendan Paul. All right, the jury has been dismissed for a break. We got a lunch break, or not a lunch break, but just a break. 11:50. So it's 11:37. The jury says the jury got a break. That's what's being reported. So we got a sidebar, and now the jury is gone. So I don't know what's being discussed in the sidebar here, and I don't know if that's been ironed out, but they gave the jury a break to 11:50. So this is the second break. Sidebar. Magnolia's going to continue to put some things on the screen. I'm going to go get myself some coffee because this stuff has been a little bit making my eyes go a little bit sleepy here. And I think that's probably why the judge was like, yo, where are we going here with this? This is boring, like this last hour. But I get what the defense is doing. And they have the right to cross these people. And the defense is, you're trying to hone in on.
or the hard way? Which way do you guys want to go?
What up, world? This your boy Ed, aka the Togo, man. Y'all see what's going on.
That's it. All right, we are off to Madison, Georgia. Shit, Auburn, Alabama. That nigga got his man. I'm going way out there. That up. All right, so we got a long ride. I'm gonna see if I can alter this to. I am in. Let's go. Let's cancel this. I'm in Ackworth. So let's go to Cummings, Georgia. That's what I'll C-U-M-M. Let's go that way. Then Cummings to Beaufort. Then Beaufort to Norcross to 316. And 316 into Athens to Madison. Yeah. Oh, they gonna be on.
It is interesting that we didn't fall into the recession and we didn't fall into a depression.
So what's the use keeping it? He's keeping interest rates high, and they want to know why.
What's going to happen? And I think a big reason for that was the sort of the strength that we had at the Fed, and the country came together and said, we're going to figure this thing out, and we did that. You didn't panic. You guys were very independent. I think everyone did their job. The reason I say that is because I do worry about the independence of the Fed now going forward. So question, can the president appoint himself as the Fed chair?
It's a question, but not for me.
You're the Fed chair, you should know. You should know what the requirements are to be the Fed chair. Can you appoint yourself?
You have a message.
Well, you're the Fed chair. What is the requirements to be the Fed chair?
Confirmed by the nominated confirmed by the Senate.
You have a message.
You have to be a U.S. citizen, probably, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so far it seems like the president fits those. He's a U.S. citizen. He can appoint. He can propose himself, and I assume that the senators over there could confirm. Why couldn't he become the Fed chair also?
Again, not a question for me.
Okay.
I wouldn't speculate.
The reason I ask that is because, again, I do think that we have a great system because of the independence of the Fed. And it worries me that more and more, and I assume, I'm not going to ask you this embarrassing question.
Above the
I'd
law.
like to. Whether you read all the
can tell
things
you
that it
who
says
can fire
about it,
me.
I'm sure you do.
Nobody can fire him.
Yeah, but I won't tell you what they are. But I'm glad you've been independent. And I think that that's so important because you do look at long terms. It's not missed on you. You know that we want you all to lower the rates. You know that, both sides, right? You get that.
Then why don't you?
The answer could be yes or no.
Honestly, I'm not sure I do know that. I talked to a lot of members
from our
privately.
side, we'd love to see the rates go down. And I've heard from a number of my colleagues on the other side, we'd love to see the rates go down.
I talked to
I
a
think
lot of
they're pretty
members.
unanimous.
Who are you
In
talking
any
to?
case, we have to do, you were appointed and confirmed, my colleagues and I do what we think is right.
Okay,
That's
then we're
exactly
fine.
right. And that's why I say it, because I think it's not lost on you that we all want the rates to go down. In fact, it's really real when you say, someone's locked in at 3% at their house, their interest rate, so they don't want to move and get a 7% rate. They don't want to pay that. That's real. My colleagues mentioned that, and that's
So
true.
he's being
And that's why it's so important to be independent. Now, lastly, I do want to ask, because again, it's so darn important to have an independent Fed chair and an independent Fed. Secondly, the dual mandate. I respect the chairman very much, and he's a friend. Hope that doesn't hurt him politically. But that being said, He did ask you a question about the dual mandate in a way that he quoted somebody else and said, is that the way you see it? I do want to see, how do you see the dual mandate? It seems to me that you gave a little bit of a preference to price stability over maximum employment. Is that the case?
No, I think the two things are equal under the law. But if the thought is, we haven't defined it in exactly the way that the chairman said, but notwithstanding that, I do think it's a reasonable way to define it, which is the maximum employment is the maximum level that's sustainable or consistent with price stability over the long run. That doesn't make it, to me, an inferior goal.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you.
I think it's kind of
Mr. Chairman.
implicit in a way.
The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Michigan, Ms. McLean, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. As a business owner, small business owner myself, access to capital is extremely important to me. So I want to talk a little bit about the Fed's balance sheet and just get a better understanding of how we're thinking about it. I mean, some experts say that the Fed's balance sheet, the large balance sheet, is distorting the markets and keeping long-term rates, let's say, too low. Also, I think it limits the access to capital, right? Historically, if I'm accurate, the balance sheet's been about $4 trillion prior to the pandemic. Then we raised it and almost doubled it to about $9 trillion. And now it's on a kind of a downward trajectory to about 7.2. Again, if my math is right. Do you think we're on the right track in shrinking this balance sheet?
I do, yes.
I'm trying to get a sense of what the landing spot, in your opinion, should be. Do you think we'll get back to the $4 trillion?
No. So we're in what we call an ample reserves regime, and what that means is that the quantity of reserves, demand fluctuates, and this means the quantity of reserves can fluctuate without affecting interest rates. And we think that's a good thing. What that means is there's going to be a lot of liquidity in the banks and in the financial system. That's a good thing. There wasn't enough liquidity before the global financial crisis. That was one of the problems. We have some shrinking left to do on the balance sheet, but we're not going to get down as far as you asked.
Where do you think we'll land? Because let me start.
You don't know.
Where do you think we'll land?
Somebody got their foot in his ass.
I can't give you an exact number, but we're going at a pretty modest pace now. We've slowed down, kind of cut in half twice the speed. We think we can go for a good while at this speed, and we'll learn as we go.
So you think the trajectory, so to speak, will remain?
Yes, and I think the fact that it's quite a gradual trajectory now is going to enable us to find that level that is ample and not scarce. When reserves are scarce, you get a lot of volatility, and that doesn't help. So I think that's a good framework. The ample reserves framework, I think, serves the country well.
And you're not concerned in terms of the access to capital? I mean, as a business owner, that's what I look at is I got to be able to get capital, and some people are saying, we're really hanging on to our cash.
I think honestly, I think if you took the trouble to go back to a much smaller balance sheet, it would have no effect whatsoever on capital-ability for companies. We wouldn't do that at all. We're not pulling capital away from companies. That's not what's happening. It's just you have a big balance sheet where there's a lot of liquidity. The result is there's a lot of liquidity. Banks are flush with liquidity for the most part, and that actually enables lending. It probably wouldn't have much of an effect one way or the other if you went back to a smaller balance sheet.
So you're comfortable with the liquidity. You're comfortable with the access to capital. Excuse me.
I mean, we look at credit availability for smaller businesses, and right now conditions are a little bit tight.
Yeah, it's tough for people in my district. It's
I would say that they're not
tough.
terribly tight, but we do see that there's some tightness. But that's not really a function of the Fed's size of the Fed's balance sheet. That's just that banks are perhaps a little risk averse in this uncertain environment.
I think it all marriage goes together and is kind of intertwined, but I appreciate that. I want to just switch gears a little bit. Are you seeing any signs of financial instability building beneath the surface that we may not be seeing maybe on top of the surface, whether it's in commercial real estate, private credit, regional banking, anything you're seeing underneath the surface that could derail the growth path
Not really, no. I mean, you mentioned, but there are a lot of pots that we need to watch to see that they don't boil over. CRE, has been a problem for 5 years. We're working our way through it. I think we're making good progress there. It's not getting worse. It's getting a little better. Private credit is, has its real positive attributes. A lot of it's not funded by deposits, so it's not, as long as it's not funded by retail or by deposits, it's actually fine for financial stability, but it's a very big and fast growing sector, and it hasn't been through a real downturn, and it's quite diverse. So I think it bears close watching. I mean, asset prices are high, but leverage is not particularly high for corporations and households historically. It's not particularly high for banks. Banks are well capitalized. So I think overall financial stability conditions are not in a place where we worry a lot.
So we're really poised in a pretty good position economically.
Gentlelady's
I
time
think so,
has
yes.
expired.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Caston, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Chair Powell. Nice to see you again. We had spoken in February about some concerns I had about some of the cuts in some of our economic data reporting agencies, and I think you'd said at the time that you didn't have a concern, but if you would alert us if there were concerns. You mentioned this with Mr. Liccardo, and I gather, if I'm paraphrasing you, I think you said that you're not concerned about your access to data right now, but I think you said that you don't like the direction of travel. I wonder if you could speak to, well, first, I'm going to work under the assumption that as the chairman of the Fed, you probably have more access to economic data than just about anyone in our country. I am more worried about the impact on smaller businesses that don't have your access to data, whether someone thinking about hiring decisions, looking at regional inflation rates, all the data we get from those resources. How concerned should we be, if an efficient economy depends on, at some level, on equal access to information? How concerned should we be that our business community, with some of these cuts to DLS and elsewhere, is not going to be able to allocate capital as efficiently as otherwise would be in small?
The reality is that essentially all the data we use overwhelmingly is public data. The difference isn't that we have more access. The difference is that this is our job, and we follow the data very, very closely. But the employment reports, the CPI reports, the analysis of that by many economists, internal and external. We just spend all of our time on this stuff, but I think large businesses have the exact same.
Well, but I'm talking about
businesses,
DLS has announced they're cutting 350 indexes, so that data is no longer going to be public data.
That's a different thing. Okay, so if you're asking about that, I don't want to say, it wouldn't be true to say that we can't do our jobs with the data that we have now. That's just not true. The data overall, we get the data. It's all, these jobs you're always going to make mistakes. It's never going to be certain in any time. But I would say seeing that the survey sizes are shrinking and we're seeing more volatility, for example, in the labor market data, lower response rates and things like that's not good. We should be getting better and better and better. Yeah. I would add the private sector, by the way, we use more and more big private sector data sets. And that is a relatively new thing.
Sure.
In the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, and oftentimes
it doesn't replace the U.S. government data has been the gold standard.
Yeah, and I guess I get concerned because some of those data sets, of course, you have to pay for, and not every business can afford that. I want to, staying on the data point and picking up on what Mr. Himes was saying, I think only a fool would predict they know what's going to happen in the Middle East right now. But I get concerned that we have trying to handicap. The Saudis have been very open that they would like to not see the price of oil get above a point where they're going to lose market share, much to the dismay of U.S. frackers. U.S. frackers have been wanting to see it go the other direction. I don't know how to handicap which group is going to have more impact on Trump right now. But I would like to have some smart person out there taking a position on what is happening in oil markets. And the Energy Information Administration has now announced they're not going to run the International Energy Outlook anymore. Should we be concerned about that piece of data as we think about what's happening in global energy markets right now, given all the pressures between various suppliers of where they'd like to see the price go and the wild card that is Iran and the Red Sea?
I don't particularly know that specific report. I know there are many entities that do data analysis around around energy and oil and the availability of it and the price of it and all those things. So I can't speak to that one report.
Okay, well, I mean, again, just my own experience before coming here, I relied a lot on that, and if I was in my past job, I would now basically have to rely on the International Energy Agency, which in general was not. A lot of this gets tied together with the Office of Financial Research, which would presumably be synthesizing a lot of this information for you. Your predecessors, Janet Yellen and Ben Bernanke, both recently urged the opposition to cuts in Office of Financial Research that are in the bill that the Republicans are pushing through. Do you share your predecessors' concerns about the importance of that agency to synthesize some of this disparate things so that you can do your jobs, that the American people can do your job, or do you share the views of the Republican Party that agency is not necessary?
You know, I'm not going to take a position on the bill, on the reconciliation package, on specific issues like that don't relate to us. I will say generally, I'm a big fan, and everyone at the Fed is a big fan of good data collection.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Montana, Mr. Downing, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our national debt now exceeds $36 trillion. Congressional Republicans have made it our mission to rein in out-of-control spending, from repealing the Green New Scam, enacting common sense Medicaid and SNAP reforms, and rescinding wasteful spending. Mr. Chairman, you have repeatedly said our national debt is not currently at an unsustainable level, but it is on an unsustainable path. Can you describe what the point of no return looks like when our debt reaches an unsustainable level?
So there's no way to know exactly what that is.
Then how do you know what it is if you
But
don't?
ultimately, if the debt is growing substantially faster than the economy, by definition, at some point it will not be sustainable. So, we don't have oversight responsibility over the fiscal authorities, but that's traditionally what my predecessors have limited themselves to saying, and I'll say it too.
And what effect would that have on the economy?
So you'd see rates go up. It would be very challenging to. I think if you wait too long to fix the problem, you'll have to fix the problem eventually. If you wait too long, it'll be much more painful.
Yes. I believe the U.S. dollar status as the global reserve currency is essential. It allows the U.S. to borrow at lower costs, which stimulates economic growth and increases standards of living. The Trump administration is actively negotiating to ensure we are no longer taken advantage of by our trading partners. At a previous Monetary Policy Task Force hearing, all of the witnesses agreed that the recent volatility in the Treasury markets did not permanently damage the dollar's global reserve currency status. Do you agree?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Let me turn to oversight of the Federal Reserve. I certainly believe that had the Federal Reserve responded faster by raising interest rates earlier to combat the inflation crisis of the previous administration, that interest rates would not be as high as they are now. I hear frequently that from my constituents that they're increasingly getting priced out of the housing market while interest rates remain near record highs despite the rate of inflation coming down. So, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the Fed's increased transparency under your leadership, and you've always welcomed congressional oversight into the Fed. And I also appreciate the comments you've made about the limits of our knowledge demanding humility. So with that in mind, can you point to oversight practices of other governments into their central banks that could be replicated with the Federal Reserve?
That's an interesting question, and I want to think about that. I'll come see you and we can talk about that. I think
sir.
we have effective oversight from this committee and from the other committee in the Senate, and I think that's important.
Would you be supportive of an outside independent group of analysts or economists that conducts a periodic review of the Fed's economic assessments model?
Yep.
So those are ideas I'd like to think about and discuss privately before.
So do you have any other ideas to increase oversight in the Federal Reserve?
I think, like my predecessors, I've fostered, more and more transparency at the margin. And I think that's appropriate.
It's obviously
I think
a fraud.
transparency is critical if we're to maintain our democratic legitimacy. So I've tried that, but I'll devote some more thought to that question.
Well, I look forward to following up, and I thank you for your responses. And on that, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chairman Powell, for being here with us today. I understand commenting on some policy issues or outside of your purview, but I have one that I think is heavily impactful on the American economy right now. And I want to underscore the scale and impact of the ICE raids that we're seeing across the country. Pew Research estimates that over 10.5 million undocumented individuals live in the United States, more than 3.3% of the population today. And according to the nonpartisan American Immigration Council, removing this workforce could cost the U.S. economy between 1.1 and 1.7 trillion in GDP and billions in tax contributions, including 22.6 billion in Social Security and 5.7 billion in Medicare funds that are increasingly critical as our population continues to age. These are resources that are paid by these undocumented have been here for a long time. Many of them have been here for a very long time. That's why I plan to introduce the Save the American Workforce Act, which would establish an employee-sponsored temporary work authorization for undocumented immigrants who have been in the country for 3 years or longer and have never been in any kind of trouble, no criminal liability or nothing else. Additionally, last week I sent a letter to President Trump urging him to halt indiscriminate deportations and issue an executive order that would do exactly what my bill does to protect American businesses that need a workforce. We have the last I heard, I think we have 7 million open jobs. We have a record low unemployment, which is great, but we have 7 million open jobs that we cannot fill by American workers. What economic consequences would we face if these individuals were removed from the workforce, even further hurting the situation that we're in? Could this disrupt even more the economy even more severely than what we experienced during the Great Recession?
So, as you might expect, Mr. Gonzalez, immigration policy is just not for the Fed to comment on or to, let alone make, and so I'm reluctant to engage with you on that.
Okay. Okay. I want to talk to you something a little differently. We have, and this is a banking issue. Banks are making, billions of dollars of construction loans across the country that are timelined, and contractors are not able to fulfill their obligation because they don't have the labor force in the middle of the jobs to finish. I mean, I'm hearing stories in Texas, at least, where people are pouring concrete at midnight. Are y'all having any kind of conversation with the administration on how this could impact the economy and our GDP?
Nope.
So we have very deep connections all over the country through the reserve banks, and we hear some of the same stories. But for us, we're not the policymakers here. We don't report this to the administration. We don't just publicly, have a view on it. It just is what it is. So, we're our responsibility, maximum employment, price stability, many other factors affect those goals, but we don't make those goals. We don't make the policy in those extraneous areas, which include things like energy, for example, or immigration, or fiscal policy, or any number of things. We try to stick to our knitting because that's how we remain independent.
We're living such unconventional times that I would love to have that. It would be great if y'all were having those conversations in the administration. But moving on, the U.S. dollar has also long been the world's dominant reserve currency, but that position is facing growing pressure. As of 2024, BRICS nations led by China and including Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa have stepped up efforts to reduce their reliance on the dollar in global trade. China, for instance, has expanded the use of the yuan in energy transactions and cross-border payments, while BRICS is actively developing alternative payment systems that could erode the dollar's global role. At the same time, inconsistent and unpredictable economic policies from the White House have contributed to a drop in the dollar's value, now at its lowest level in 3 years. What risk does a weakening dollar pose to our economy, particularly to U.S. borrowing costs, inflation, financial stability, as China and BRIC nations expand their efforts to challenge the dollar's global dominance?
So, by long agreement and custom and tradition, the Treasury Department has responsibility for the dollar and dollar stewardship. I would say we also are involved in payments policy, and we're very aware. We and the other major economy central banks are very aware of other payment developments, and working on ideas to make sure that the payment systems that support the dollar and other other
Gentleman's
major
time's
currencies
expired.
of the democracies are well supported by that
Like I
infrastructure.
said,
Thank
he
you.
don't
I yield
know.
back.
Gentleman's time has expired. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Ardopoulos, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Powell, for being here today and answering these questions for us. Very much appreciated. Looking back over the last few years, I think the question a lot of people have been asking me as they really were suffering through the challenges with higher prices across the board. I know they got as high as over 9% inflation in 2022. And there's a lot of discussion about, was it Ukraine, was
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious, day 28 of the federal sex trafficking trial against Sean Diddy Combs. And it was, it was relentless, shall we say. We're talking about explicit text messages, graphic videos, coordinated travel with escorts, drug menus, baby oil, and receipts. So many receipts, like hours and hours of receipts. If you're into this, like if you're really into proving a case down to the arcane letter of the law, this was the day for you, because it was like charts and graphs and receipts and paperwork, right? Mixed in with a lot of dirty, sexy messages and evidence. So the prosecution was racing through mountains and mountains of the digital stuff, all the digital evidence, trying to prove that what looked like luxury and excess was actually enterprise-fueled exploitation. But the biggest shocker of the entire day was when Diddy's lawyers confirmed that he ain't going to be calling a single witness. And he's not going to be taking the stand either. Squeeze me, baking powder. I mean, honestly, I thought for sure that Diddy's lawyers would trot out a whole bunch of Diddy acolytes who would say he was the greatest. I never saw any of this. The women were into it. There was no coercion, no forced trafficking, none of this stuff, right? But there's two things I can think of. Number one, he doesn't think that the prosecutors have done the job. Number two, he doesn't have those people. But what this means is that the testimony's almost over. And closing arguments are like just days away. Like I can see the finish line. And later in this episode, I'm going to need you to pour a drink, buckle up, whatever it is you do to chill, because we are diving deep into the pages of leaked text messages that were just released by the government over the weekend. And these are not rumors. These are actual text messages between Diddy's team amongst themselves, talking about sex luggages and baby oil shipments and drug bags and bags of dicks. That is not a typo. Bags of dicks. And yes, it is just about as outrageous as it sounds. And like shipments, get this much baby oil and lube. Is this enough? No, double it. Like, I'm kidding you not. It looks like it's a comedy sketch. When I read it for you in just a hot minute, you will see what I mean, but I couldn't believe it. I had to read it twice, 3 times, 4 actually, and then write it. So let me dive right into everything that happened today. Day 28 of the federal trial against Diddy picked up right where it left off with Special Agent Joseph Cerciello. Can I just say I had a long debate with my staff. Some Italian, some not Italian. How do you pronounce Cerciello? Cerciello. I thought maybe it was Cerciello or Cerciello. I don't know. But one of my Italian staff members said if there's a single C, you say C, and if it's a double C, you say ch. So while some thought it was Cerciello, I'm sticking with Cerciello, and I hope I'm not wrong, but Agent, if you're out there, call me. So he was back on the stand, and if you remember, Agent Cerciello was the one who was walking the jury through the massive charts of digital evidence. Basically what prosecutors are calling a roadmap of Diddy's alleged criminal enterprise. Today, the prosecutor zoomed in on 2 key timeframes: September 2022 and December 2021. And I'm going to start with September of 2022. Agent Cerciello walked the jury through what happened during the weekend of September 24th and September 25th, the weekend that took place across 2 cities, Los Angeles and Las Vegas. Listed on the evidence chart for those dates were 3 names: Diddy, Jane Doe, and a man named Paul Arthur. Yes, you probably remember. That's the name of an alleged escort. At least the prosecutors say an escort. There were flight records and payment records and text messages with what the feds like to call receipts, right? One of the text messages was from Diddy to KK, Christina Coram, aka his chief of staff, and in it Diddy says, quote, really wanted to have a fun night in Vegas with someone he called her. And then came the audio messages. The audio was played directly into the jurors' headphones, which meant you and me and the rest of the schlubby public, everybody in the courtroom, they just had to sit there and watch in silence. And that made it really tough to follow the full context. But reporters did catch one detail. In one message, KK reminds Diddy that there's a box of Plan B in his nightstand. And she repeats that reminder in a later message too. Like as if to say, if y'all go bareback, use the Plan B so you don't have any more of them kids. Okay, so then the focus shifted to texts and flights and explicit video. Agent Cerciello testified that he reviewed what he called, quote, many hours of graphic footage. Can you imagine being him? Just think for a minute. As a normal course of your workday, you're going to watch like 50 hours of Diddy porn. And what are you supposed to tell your like work colleagues? Like, sorry, this is not safe for work. Don't anybody come around my monitor. Or, hey, HR, I need to just be like watching porn for the next 5, 6, 8 days. I can't imagine. But I guess, look, if you work in sex trafficking, that is what you have to do. For Agent Cerciello, these were videos that were pulled from seized electronics. And nearly all of them featured Jane Doe and a man identified as Cabral. And by the way, we have been thinking that Cabral, because it's only said in court, not written to the reporters, that it was C-A-B-R-A-L, but today we learned it's K-A-B-R-A-L-E. Cabral, or whatever you want to say, but he's an escort that we've heard about during past testimony multiple times. And yes, Diddy was visible in some of the videos that the agent was watching, forced to watch. In other videos, there were additional men as well. And the jury was shown actual clips of actual freak-offs, some lasting like 45 seconds, others stretching more than 2 minutes. But the bulk of today's video evidence came from the week of December 17th to December 21st, right around the holidays in 2021. Merry Christmas. Agent Cerciello said that he reviewed roughly 50 separate videos from just those 5 days. Okay, think about it. Could you shoot 50 full videos in 5 days? Could you have sex 50 times in 5 days? Anyway, that's what the agent said they had to watch. And some of them were only partially played for the jury. 45 seconds here, 2 minutes there. But one of them, one of the full videos was actually shown in its entirety. And the prosecution clearly here wants to show a pattern, not just of behavior, but of enterprise. Like enterprise level planning, evidence of sex acts, coordination with escorts, cross-state, even international movement, financial records, messaging, video, all coming together. And then the calendar jumped almost 2 years ahead to September 2024. And if you're keeping track, that is less than a year ago from right now, right? According to Special Agent Cerciello, that weekend involved multiple hotel bookings in New York City at the Trump International and another at the Whitby. The names attached to those reservations, Jane Doe, Diddy, someone named Robert, and an escort named, say it with me, Cabral. K-A-B-R-A-L-E. But now I got a last name. And I've been waiting for a last name on this Cabral fella. And they say it's Williams. So Cabral Williams. Not very Italian, but okay. This part of...
Who you calling for?
Hello?
Who you calling for?
Good afternoon. My name is Sabrina. The new Trump administration has changed. need to start choosing your words carefully and explain exactly what your thought process was.
I'm a UPS driver. I don't need anything on my license, so I thought he pulled his FedEx driver shirt off. Number there, so I was going to call his boss and just let him know he's driving. Like, I did start that.
On May 28th, 2023, officers responded to a road rage incident between a FedEx driver and an off-duty UPS driver.
All right, you unbuckled? All right, open your door with your left hand. Hey, both hands out. Hey, all right, with your hands out, go ahead and open your door. There you go. There you go. Open it up for me. Come on, come on. Walk back up. Let's go. Face away from me. Face away from me. Back up. 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 Appreciate your cooperation. Yes, sir. All right, bend up. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. All right, we're going to back up. We're going to back up. Yes, sir. Wherever you need me. My wife is in the back left seat. Okay, so there's two more occupied? Okay, do you have any weapons on you? No, we called about him having a weapon. All right. Have a seat. All right. You, keep your hands up. Come out of the vehicle. Just him, the driver of the box truck. I'm going to get you if you need anything. Oh, sir, what is this? We're doing everybody, just to be sure. Okay, we're going to get you. No, hopefully not. All right. Driver of the box truck, come on out. Keep your hands up. Not you in the truck, the box truck. Face away, face away, face away. Face away. All right, you got commands. You got him. Turn around. I got that. Come on back. I've got no problem. Okay. All right. This is my phone right here. Okay. Officer. All right. Why am I being in cuffs? No, you're just being detained right now. All we got is information about somebody with a gun. Okay. Yes, I have a firearm in there, sir. Okay. Yeah, there's two more occupants in the F-150. I have a firearm. Okay. Stay where you are. Why am I being cuffed, officer? You're just being detained for the safety of everybody involved, okay? Okay, all right, I understand. I called you guys. Okay, we're just doing everybody, okay? Because we want to make sure that everybody's safe. You can sit right here. Thank you. If you look on that, right by my driver's seat. Yeah, the driver of the box truck. There's still two people in there. I have my firearm right there. By your driver's? Yes, sir. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, passenger in the front, come on out, hands up. It's loaded. It's not. Okay, is there one in the pipe? Yes, sir. Okay, all right. Unlock the door. Listen, I called you guys. Okay, we have to do this the right way. Come on back. Turn around. Keep walking towards us. He has an empty holster in his waistband. I'm out of cuffs. I have no firearm on me. ID is in my right pocket. Okay, appreciate it. We called because this gentleman was brandishing a firearm at us. Okay. Tiny, she has to climb over from the back seat. That's fine, we saw that. I asked why we're all being put in handcuffs. Everybody's being placed in cuffs right now. This is a felony stop, okay? Okay. You asked why it's a felony stop? It's because of the threat. Okay, I got it. No problem. No problem. Man, come on out. Hands up. Come on. Come on. I'm gonna let you sit in here with him because y'all know each other. This is my brother. This is my younger brother. What's up? I don't understand why we're in cuffs right now. You mind turning around? Right now, we're just detaining people, okay? No one else in the car? Everybody is in cuffs right now because because we both people called. Okay? Okay.
Yes. Okay, stop.
You should have seen the way they was
Okay,
acting.
we're not doing this right this second, okay? Give us a second while we sort everything out. You have an outburst does not help any of the situation, okay?
You have any weapons on you? Okay. I know, that's what, right, exactly. Because if I have to go into that car for a weapon and we don't know what your mindset is and my back is turned and you decide to shoot me in my back. Gotcha. We got you.
Stop, turn around, put your butt back on the bumper, okay? We're not doing this nonsense.
Here. Go to Tusky.
Get over, you both are going to be right here. And you're going to be civil and ignore each other. Understand?
You do me a favor, where the Band-Aid is on my nose, just rub it slightly.
Okay.
You got that one? Yeah. There's a gun right here. back of the box truck, it's empty. 6-1 Central, I have a 0 for a 1032. Bravo.
Yeah, they have to unload it.
I don't know why this even came to us. Definitely going to be easier for y'all to get here. It came to y'all because it was the inner loop past Millage. All the white people are in the black pickup truck. And the gentleman right there was in the box truck. And he had the gun. He has the holster on him. Got those Fran rounds. Huh? No, it was in the seat. It was over the seat. I had to jump over. Alright, come on. Yes, sir. No, it wasn't in the seat. It was on my person. I took it out.
Okay, that's fine. We still have to run it. Anytime there's a gun involved, we have to run it.
My shoulders are left. Sorry, give me 1 second. I apologize. No, you're fine. All right, come on. We're gonna go over here. No, you can turn around. You move me wherever you want me. Okay. All right. What's your name? I'm Joshua. Nice. I'm Josh. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Well, we'll see. Did we get your ID yet? No, sir. Is it in the vehicle? It should be. Or it should be in my pocket. It's my wallet somewhere. Phone, 2 phones. My wallet should be somewhere. Okay. I'm gonna take him out so I can question him without having to read him. I think. Yeah. He's in the truck, right? Yeah, he was in the truck. So he's. This is just all a. I wouldn't call it misunderstanding. No, I'm not gonna say misunderstanding. This is just all a abundance of caution. Everybody out in the danger. Yeah. No, it's all right. I understand. I've seen plenty of videos. You guys need to be safe. Better to escalate a little bit just to keep everybody safe than have to escalate higher later. I won't name any names, but I have friends who are police officers. All right. Anyway, so who called us? I called. Okay. May I explain? Yeah, go ahead. So we're coming down the road, taking this lift back to my brother's in-laws. Okay. And they're not talking to me.
Okay, like I said, they're talking to each person individually. You just have to wait your turn.
You know where the road work is down the bridge down there, where it all closes into one. Well, we're not too far from it closing in, and this guy honks on his gas and tries. I can see him coming from far off trying to get around me, so I just kind of go into the other lane and I say, hey, it's not available. Let's. And he shoots up right behind me. I try to get out of his way. Are you on the inner? You're coming. So you're on this. Okay. On this side. All right. And what the problem was, he was going to turn around. Sorry. He was trying to come up beside me. I kind of threw it out. There's like, hey man, there's not enough room. The right lane's open right now, isn't it? I'm not sure. No, it closes up. I think it's still closing down to one lane. Right, that's what I'm saying. They switched it a while ago. To the one lane. Is the right lane open right now or the left lane? It turns into one lane. Right, I'm saying, is it the Athens Tech and everything, and you get to that light, it starts to veer down into one. Right, under the overpass, because that's where they're doing the work. Try to get in front of him. Okay, so he's trying to pass you in the left lane? And I swing my car a little, hey, let's not do that. Not aggressively, because he's far enough behind me. He's like where your cop car is back there. Okay, so he's like, good warning, like, hey, there's not enough room. And then he zooms up behind me, and as we get through that stuff, right, and it opens back up, I let my window down, I'm like, please, you're locked down, please, go ahead. Okay, okay. He's all mad and like pointing his finger at me, like, pull over, I was like, dude, what are we doing here? So we go over, and I get in the other lane, and he points a gun at my brother. I didn't see it at first, but he points it like through his arm to show that he has it. He's pointing, like this. I'm like, what the? I didn't. It upset me. So I was like, pull over. I'm calling the police. So we pull over. I put my headlight on. He pulls over with me. He has the gun still. Like, what do you want to do? I'm like, what's going on? Okay, so. She is. I want to involve with the other party. Can we pull her away from our suspect, please? That's my wife. Yeah. Yeah. What's your wife's name? Leslie. Let's separate those, please. Leslie. What was your name, sir? Date of birth? 1993. What's your name, ma'am? Leslie. Date of birth? Can I please get the custody?
No.
No. Not right now. Why not?
Because you're being detained.
For what?
Because we're trying to figure out what's going on. So put your butt back on the bumper. You're the one who called. You tell me.
So why am I being detained?
Everybody's being detained. Every single person is in handcuffs.
I'm just trying to figure out why specifically me.
Because there's a gun involved. And adults. Yeah, and you're being detained. So is she. So are they. So stop, okay?
I'm just asking my question. Why am I being detained?
Everybody is being detained. We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Do I have to be in cuffs?
Yes, that's what being detained is. It's in handcuffs.
So basically, it was him being upset that we would let him get in front of us during that obstruction. Okay. Did he ever point at you or just your brother? He pointed at my brother, but then when we stopped here, he wanted to show me. He's like, no, I pointed it like this. I'm like, dude, you're I mean, it could go through your arm. He was brandishing it. I saw his black weapon. It fits in the side of his hand. Yeah. And that's when I decided to call the police, because up until this point, it was just road rage. Yeah. And I could just let that go. I'm a UPS driver. I don't need anything on my license, so I just...
Are you able to give me a rundown of kind of what happened? Or what you're aware of what happened? I mean, I know that were you sitting in the back seat?
I was in the back seat, so I didn't have like an actual point blank view. On and off again with my phone, Facebook, parents, that sort of thing. I know when we were coming from 29, where the bridge work is, and it narrows into one lane. Very little space. He was trying to get around us, but there wasn't enough room with the speed that we were going. So we sped up to allow him room behind us, and he continuously tried to dart around us during that stuff. So that frustrated my husband and my brother-in-law. And there were some hand signals thrown as far as pull over, let's take care of this sort of thing.
Was that coming from kind of both sides?
Both sides.
I let it go. Yeah, I feel that. I thought he was a FedEx driver. I thought he pulled his FedEx driver shirt off. I took a picture of his the 904 number there, so I was going to call his boss, just let him know he was driving like 12. Okay. Yeah, okay. I was just like, what the hell? Okay. I'm right here. No, you're fine. Yeah, you're good, man.
Chris, put your butt on the bumper. I'm not asking you again. You've been told multiple times. You are being detained, okay? Stop moving around.
I can't. My nerves. This is nerve-wracking.
You need to stop.
Stop what? I'm telling you, my nerves.
Okay. You moving around is not helping your case, so stop. Okay?
I just got threatened, and you want me to be calm and collective.
Stop.
Appreciate you. I'm sorry, brother. No, it's not your fault, man. It's all right. It's not your fault. Everybody stop. Okay? Take a breath. Everybody stand up, because gun. Take it up.
Did you see that?
Probably the last time I saw it, we were already.
So were y'all in like the left lane, and then he's
We
kind
were
of...
already pulled over whenever I saw it.
Okay, when you saw it pulled over, it's when he pulled back up, he's kind of like this. He's like, look, I still got it, kind of thing. Okay.
And he started to yell that it was for his protection. They yelled saying we didn't have a weapon, that sort of thing.
Hey, this is going pretty smooth and everybody's okay. Nobody's hurt. Like I said, this is... A lot of people don't understand that the more cops that show up, the better. Yeah. And one of the things that you learn is that a force faster like this keeps everybody safe. No, it does. It does. And I understand what you did. You had no.
Scary.
Yeah, because I don't know exactly what's going on, because it comes out of a different side of town, and so I'm working on the footnotes, and you guys have your hands out the window. Like, oh, great. There's
it's fine.
Y'all are the ones with the guns, and I'm trying to get y'all. That's what I.
Okay, I just always taught an officer needs to see your hands. Period.
Especially nowadays.
With all the confusion, I just don't think risk it, man.
Ever since I was a young child, I've always every time I got pulled over, my hands go right out the window. Usually my windows go all the way down. Yeah, it can. Yeah, well, or you can just leave it on the steering wheel. You know, otherwise it can escalate it a little bit. Like, oh, why does he his hands out the window? You just gotta walk in our shoes.
I want to get pulled over so they can see me anytime.
Yeah. Anyway, you can turn. You're good. Y'all are just relax. Just take a breath. We're okay here. Y'all are the victims. We're trying to get your statements. Now, in your own words, nothing about what he said. What happened?
Taking the engine lift back to my in-laws. Yeah, it has a bigger trailer than me. I jumped in with him this morning, so we take him down there. Said that's fine. We started coming around the 10 loop at about Athens Tech, past the light right there where the lanes merge. The gentleman was kind of behind us. Then he tried to get up beside us, and there was not enough room. So my brother was like, "Hey," he sped up a little bit. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
Evidently, this gentleman got really, really upset and irate with us. We went through that area, and then he came up around us and was like, "What? Y'all want to do something?" So he was definitely instigating it, and then from there,
was he talking through his passenger window or his
yelling at the passenger window at first?
Because you were on the right, because y'all were on his right, weren't you? On his passenger side?
We were on the right side at first until you come out to where it veers from the where.
Okay, so coming out of the bottleneck.
Coming out of the bottleneck, we were in the right lane. He was in the left-hand lane.
So he's yelling through his passenger window at y'all.
Pull over, pull But you can see what he's mouthing and everything. He's obviously angry.
Yeah.
Work on a Sunday. I'm sorry, but then we go around him because he acted like he was going to get off at College Circle or College Station, the last one down here. We come around him, and at that point in time, when I pass him, he's doing this number right here with his pistol. I'm like, what the? Yeah.
So he's with his left hand?
With his left hand.
So he's pointing at you like.
Sorry, it's right here.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to understand. If y'all are on his,
on his right, he was on our left hand side after that point in time. Until I saw the gun, he was on our left,
on your left.
and then he veered over like he was going to get off on College Station.
So he ends up on the other side. Okay.
The other side of us.
All right. And how far back was it back here?
I mean, how far away did he pull the gun on me?
Yeah. Where did this happen at?
About midways from here to the College Station exit.
Okay.
After the bridge.
He was pointing at
the
you.
bridge. Definitely.
Was he saying anything?
Yeah, he was like, "Try me, try me."
He said that.
Yeah, I could see his lip in it. Man.
Okay. Were you scared? Like, were you feared? Were you afraid? Were you afraid that he was going to shoot you?
Yeah. At one point in time. I don't know what's people think nowadays. You know.
Hi. You all right? You want to tell me what happened?
Just that at 29, where it merges where the bridge work is, it got a little hostile because he kept trying to go around us with no room available. So we sped up to allow him space behind us. He got mad, tried to come around us again. Obviously, there was no space.
Yeah.
So we kind of forced him in behind us so that there was no cutoff as it was narrowing. And from there, it escalated a little bit. Then we thought it kind of calmed down. We were all going in the same direction, but nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden, he got irate again.
Yeah.
And came up alongside of us. I didn't see the gun at first until just a few moments later, and I saw it after we pulled over. When my husband had gotten on the phone with 911, he had pulled the gun again under his arm.
And who was he pointed at?
He was just pointing it in the direction of the passenger in the truck.
Who's the passenger?
My brother.
Mr. Brother-in-law?
That's the general direction that he was.
But you saw it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what color was it?
Black.
What color was the gun?
Black, small, subcompact gun.
Man, you got it down right, didn't you?
What lane were you in? What direction were you in?
Alright, I'm coming down Tire Plus. You know that lane merges into one, correct?
Yeah, where they have
The construction.
Yeah, okay. So you're on 29 coming south?
Right.
Okay.
So I go over to the left lane. Well, I attempt to go to the left lane.
Did you have your blinker on?
I can't record right now. But
Did y'all read him? Did you read him his rights? No, it's fine.
Alright. Well, before you continue, we're reading this. Just because you're detained, just to cover all bases, okay? You're not under arrest, you're just being detained, like I said. This just covers all bases, gives you the opportunity to...
Do you have a gun in your car?
No, sir.
All right, cool. Do you mind if I just...
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
Want to talk on your side?
where are we going from there? Am I getting arrested?
No, I just need your side story.
Oh, alright. So I'm not being arrested,
Yeah,
right?
you're just detained. Like I said, you're just detained. There is no arrest as of this point. We're just trying to get everybody's stories and figure out exactly what happened.
Can I get the cuffs off of me, please?
I can't do that right now. Because everybody's being detained, so I have to do cuffs until we figure out exactly what happened.
Okay, so, alright, back to what I was saying.
Okay.
The what? The Cobra? Was it working?
No, sir. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I've got next week off. Some things I was going to do to get that thing back working.
So you're on 29 South, you passed. You're going to the,
I'm trying to get down to get onto this highway here, correct?
so you're trying to,
Right. And then the lane turns into one lane, right?
Okay.
So as I'm merging to the left, because I'm in the right lane, I'm merging to the left. No one's behind me. So I don't, like I said, I don't know if I have my blinker on or not, but this driver here swerves with this big trailer, swerves
were they behind you?
in front of me the whole time.
They were in front of you?
Yeah, swerve left behind me. And I go back to the right lane. I'm like, oh, maybe he's trying to come over to the left lane. So I go to the right lane, and he swerves back into the right lane. So I'm like, okay, cool. We're at the stoplight now. After the stoplight, I merge to the left. And like I said, I don't know if I have this or not. Again, I'm just behind. And we're coming down, and he comes up in front of me again, deliberately. Like, just I don't know if he's trying not to make me pass him or what. Deliberately comes in front of me. So at this point, I'm like, okay, cool. I go back behind him, and then after the traffic where the homes are and stuff like that, the lane opens back up to 2 lanes. I go to the left lane. While I'm in the left lane, this one Excuse my language. He pulls his, he winds the window down, flicks me off. Mind you, I'm not even window to window with this man at this point. He's in front of me, flicks me off, telling me, what is it, like doing hand gestures all throughout the window. So I do a hand. Yeah, I drive side window, flicking me off and doing all type of extra. So I literally, because I drive these trucks a lot, so I deal with this. I know how to handle it.
So we get paid either way. So who pulled over first? When he pulled out the gun, I did.
I said, I put one finger, I said, 1 second. As in, like, I'm about to come right beside you. So I pull up beside him, or on the verge of pulling up beside him, he's on his window down. So I drop my firearm. I done been in these situations. It's not my first time. I've been in these situations. I pull my firearm out and I keep it on my lap. He winds the window down. He's like, pull over. He's telling me he's going like this. And we both literally pull over.
I was like, I'm gonna stop right here and call the police because, like I was about to say, was he behind you or in front of you? Up until that point, it was. You guys were parallel. Yeah, it was actually just kind of slowing down. Really? Because I didn't want to pull over at the bridge. Yeah. Past the bridge. Once I was on 911, I wanted to stop while I saw a good mile marker. So I just kept telling 911, I'm in front of exit. I just kept saying, I'm in front of exit 6. He's screaming. And I'm just like, he pulled over and still constantly aggressing towards us, talking about get out, what you want to do. Yeah.
We both literally like pull over on the median. And I thought about it and I said, you know what, I can entertain this, but I'm not. So I keep driving.
So you're pulling over to the median?
No, we actually went into the median.
Okay, so you stopped?
Yeah, I technically did not stop.
Okay,
I don't know
so
what
you like
exit.
slow roll.
Yeah, but we was in this shit right here in the median. And then I said, you know what, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna entertain it. My gun is still drawn on my lap. I'm not letting my gun go because I don't know what he got in his car. I don't know what they're planning on doing or whatever. So I then go back into oncoming traffic, and then he pulls up behind me again.
Okay. I'm 90% sure I saw him in a FedEx outfit. Well, he does have packages in the back of the vehicle.
And literally follows me. Literally is behind me. After he done told me to pull over, then he comes back into the traffic. And at that point, at one point did I put my gun in their direction. I put it literally, I put it in my bicep. So like, I kept it like on the window in a sense, like just in case they were gonna try to like shoot out the window. I kept it like to my side in their direction in case I had to use my firearm. But not at one point in time that I put my gun up and pointed at them. Not at one point in time, but
So just so I'm clear, the barrel of the gun
it was in my shoulder. I would have to shoot my hand first.
So you said it was on the frame?
My bicep.
You said it was on the window frame? Like it was situated on the window frame?
Can you? I can show you.
What was that? What you looking for? The FedEx shirt. He had on and he took it off.
After showing the officers how he pointed the gun into his bicep, the officer begins to ask the genius why he thought that was a good idea.
I did not one time go like this. I shoot a lot. I know how to aim a firearm.
So you're telling me the barrel of the gun was underneath your armpit?
In my bicep, like this. In my bicep. I made specifically, I knew exactly what I was doing. In case they said I put a gun out on them, I would have to shoot through my hand.
Why did you think that was a good idea? Driving down the road with lots of traffic around.
I was protecting myself.
Okay, I understand that, but you not only have you have them, you also have.
I don't know what they have though.
I know, I understand that, but did they once present a gun to you?
No, but they threatened me. I was threatened.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
But at any point, did they pull any kind of weapon? Did they present?
Not that I seen. It's
Okay.
10
So why did you think it was a good idea to pull a weapon
I was
and have
defending
it?
myself.
I understand that, but
No,
if they are not presenting a weapon, why did you think it was a good idea?
Because I was defending myself. That's the only way to defend yourself.
No, that's not the only way to defend yourself. Why did you not think to call 911 while they were doing that?
At that moment in time, when they're telling me.
Let me speak. From 29 to here, that's a good 3 to 5 miles. At any point in time, you could have called 911. Why did you not call 911? Why did you wait until this specific point to call 911?
Because we were pulled over and I waited and I sat here. I said, this
So you thought it was an acceptable idea to pull out a firearm instead of plucking up your phone and calling 911 saying,
to defend myself. What's the right of me having my firearm and being able to carry my firearm? For reasons just like this.
So
if I'm ever presented a threat, I have to defend myself, correct?
But they did not present.
They presented a threat to me. How are you gonna tell me who the threat is? They literally flicked me off, 2 people in 1 car. I'm by myself.
People are allowed to do flipping people off in their car.
And telling me to pull over to the median? That's a
You don't
threat.
have to follow that. You can call 911 and say somebody is being reckless.
But I'm asking you a question. Is that not a threat?
It could be threatening, but
Yeah, it's threatening. That's what I'm saying.
let's say they're not ramming your car.
No, they're not.
Presenting a weapon. So you pulling a weapon, you thought that was a positive idea?
For my defense, yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, ma'am. People die literally in situations like this. Do you not see it? People die in road rage situations.
All right, but do you use the same situation? You pulled a firearm and presented it to them. You may
I didn't present. No, I didn't present.
Listen.
Yeah,
You may
be
not
careful with
have
your words.
pointed it directed at them, but
Mhm.
you presented a weapon. A weapon was shown. You understand this?
What's the crime there?
You're presenting a weapon.
What's the crime there?
You have instigated it into a more detailed.
I instigated it? If
Okay.
I just told you my story and you tell me I instigated, I
I
literally.
think you need to start choosing your words carefully and explain exactly what your thought process was behind that.
To defend myself.
That's all you're gonna keep saying then.
No, I don't understand what you want me to say. I'm confused. And I'm literally trying to talk to you. I didn't do anything wrong other than I thought I was defending myself.
No, at the same time too. So they're on your left side.
They're on my right side.
They're on your right side.
They was on my right side until.
So when you,
got
I'm
here.
talking about when you pulled over.
Yeah, they was on my left side.
Okay,
When
so
I
you
did
take,
this.
all right.
Yeah.
So you got the gun like this.
So they couldn't say I
So-
pointed at them.
What I'm getting at is the barrel is still in your bicep.
Correct.
But it's still facing towards them.
No, because no, literally.
Facing other lane of traffic.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Well, and that
instead of
too.
the traffic, it was literally down towards the floor. I did it purposely. Like I said, I was leaning back.
What she's getting to, and I ain't stepping on your toes. What she's getting to is, look where you're at.
Yeah, I didn't fire my firearm, sir. Nobody else seen my firearm.
You've heard of accidental discharges, right?
Yeah.
So
But
other people there.
I
So you have endangered every single person driving.
my gun.
I don't care if you've shot, okay?
I